you do that, I promise you're going to have way more success this year, way more success this next quarter. Hey, Solarpreneurs, today is the start of quarter two, depending on when you're listening to this. Maybe you had the best quarter of your life. Maybe you had some things that were left to be desired. Today we're going to talk about how to do a quarterly review, how to learn from your mistakes, and how to make sure you don't make the same ones moving forward. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Taylor Armstrong. We're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and hopefully have a much better time in the solar industry. You are listening to this right before we get ready to go to SolarCon. There is about 2 weeks left before the start of SolarCon. So you've been reminded probably 50 times at this point. If you haven't gotten your tickets, I don't even know what to tell you. Go snag your tickets, click the link down in the show notes. And if you want to get access to some incredible bonuses, make sure you book the hotel from the link. Send us a copy of your confirmation code, or you can also send us the proof of the upgraded ticket, and we will hook you up with some bonuses. But if not, go ahead and grab a free ticket. They are free. Tony Robbins is coming. I can't believe people would not go to this. Grab your ticket today, and we will see you there. Can't wait to hang out with y'all. And so, got a text from some of our leaders. I'm here in San Diego. Right now, I run a team of about 15 guys on our squad, trying to grow it. Have a few openings available if you want to look into joining our squad. But got some texts from our leaders, and they had us send all of the metrics from every single one of the closers, the sales reps on our team. And it just got me thinking. I've been a part of a lot of teams in my solar career, but I've never really dove into the numbers as much as I have just now, being with a bigger company and trying to grow my squad. And we got down, we analyzed the numbers, and we just dug into what was going wrong, what could be improved. And it was kind of eye-opening to see not only my numbers, but also from other people on our team who at first glance, it seemed like they were doing awesome, closing tons of deals, getting things installed. But when we looked at the numbers, there was a different story on a few of them. And so that's what I want to go over today, is to make sure that you just pay attention to your numbers, pay attention to your metrics. You probably heard what gets measured gets improved. So if you're not tracking, if you're not measuring, if you're not doing an analysis on your stats, on your numbers, especially after quarters, after months, then it's very likely that you're going to get to the end of the quarter, end of the month, even end of the week, and see that you did not do as good as you thought you did. Okay, so today I'm going to give you 5 or 6 questions that you can go over just in your personal cells, that you can answer for yourself. And then also I would encourage you, if you are running a team, if you are over a few guys or have some setters, have them do this too. With our team, we are sitting down with our guys. We're going to do one-on-ones where we go through some of these questions and just help them do a little self-analysis. Little journal entry would be a good idea. So grab a pen and paper. This is how you're going to get the best results for today. Grab a pen and paper. I would encourage you, as we go through these questions, you can pause it, you can write down the answers for yourself, do a little self-analysis, and then we're also going to include a little worksheet. We'll put it in the show notes, get you access. But if you want access for a worksheet to follow along with the questions, and we'll have some bonus questions in there if you want to dig a little deeper, then that will be found in the show notes. You can go download that, and it's going to get you maximum results. Okay, and so I use a little planner right now. It's called the Refocus planner. It's my personal favorite. There's some other sales specific planners out there, but I just like this one. It's by a guy named Michael Hyatt. It's simple. He just has solid questions on there. He has a weekly review section and a quarterly review section. So some of these questions I'm taking from Mike's planner, Michael Hyatt, and then we'll add in a few sales specific ones. But if you can start with something like that, just a little template, it's going to do wonders for you, and it's going to help you improve on whatever results you got in the previous quarter, whether they were good or bad. Okay, and so the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what were 3 to 5 of your wins from the last quarter. It's called the after action review. Okay, Michael Hyatt, he talks about how in the military, after every like operation or battle, whatever, they have a after action review where they just go through what went well, what can be improved, right? But this part, we're just talking about what were the wins, what were 3 to 5 of the top wins from last quarter. And so for me, just to give you some examples, my wins, I was able to save a few accounts that had been ghosting me. Had 2 accounts in specific that were bigger, got some good checks coming on them that I thought were canceling. We had to do a change order, had to adjust some panels for them. They had some issues, some complaints, objections, and it got to the point where they just weren't responding anymore. So finally, after probably a month and a half or so of not really responding, not really getting anywhere with these accounts, I showed up. I bugged them for like a week straight and eventually got them to sign their change orders and got them back progressing. So that was a win for me, saving these 2 bigger accounts. Another win I had was completing 75 hard. Lost about 15 pounds as I was going through 75 hard. Could have had better results. You can go listen to the 75 hard episode we did a week or 2 ago if you want to hear more about that. But that was a win for me, just going through that process, sticking to those habits, and losing some weight along the way. Still trying to drop a few pounds. Still trying to not, now that I'm done with it, not let all those habits just fall off the cliff, but still trying to keep up with them. Easier said than done. Okay, and then the second question, after you've written down your wins, the question that I added to this is just what were some challenges, what were some things that didn't go so well, maybe you could learn from. So for me, a couple challenges, just to give you some examples, I had some clawbacks from Everbright. If anyone uses Everbright, you know they've gotten a little more difficult lately. And our team, when we were using Everbright in their heyday, we were closing lots of deals through Everbright. We discovered this battery hack. Maybe some of you heard about this, but basically a way where you could price out the battery in a system separate from the solar. And we noticed that the pay increased when you priced it like that. You could have the same monthly payment for the customer, but if you priced them separately instead of like a combined monthly payment, then for whatever reason, it was like a glitch in their system, I guess. We made more money on these accounts, or so we thought. Okay, but one of the challenges was, and what we found out the hard way is that Everbright, they found this out, they didn't like it. And so even on deals that had already been installed, paid out, they went back and said, hey, no, this wasn't supposed to happen. All that extra money that you made from it, you know what, we're declining the account. You're gonna have to re-sign it at whatever the payout is at the current time. And the unfortunate thing is that sometimes months, it'd been 3-4 months since these accounts were installed. Then all of a sudden we're seeing pay difference in thousands of dollars in the adjustments that Everbright made. So it was a challenge for myself, for several people on our team. Some of them we were able to switch to different TPO providers or different products. But some of them, in the case of one of mine, I had a massive callback on one that already had permission to operate, couldn't be switched, and they hit me with this change, couldn't do anything about it. Lost thousands of dollars on an account that had already been installed. So it was a challenge for us, and maybe some of you went through the same thing that are listening, but that's why they call it the solar coaster, is because things are constantly changing in solar, and unfortunately there's some stuff that happens that we don't have a lot of control. But I always tell my guys, it's a high risk, high reward type of thing. We can get paid, especially out where I'm at, we can get paid sometimes insane money on these accounts. But sometimes there is higher risk, especially with using providers like Everbright that they were newer at the time, they were paying more. They were kind of like the new kid on the block that everyone was loving, but we paid a little price with them. Okay, so that's a example of a challenge. Lots of challenges, but that's just one. You hit me up later, I'd tell you about challenges all day long, because that's how solar goes. We deal with challenges. That's why not everyone does solar. Okay, but then after that, another question to go through is what was the progress made on your goals from last quarter? Okay, and something I've learned is that it's usually more effective to focus on like 3 goals max in a quarter. Because if you have a whole list of goals, you have 15, 20 goals, and you're trying to focus on all of them, then it's just progress is a lot harder to come by when you have that many goals. It's something Michael Hyatt suggests in his little goal planner too, in his planner. So I like to pick 2 to 3 goals that I'm focusing on for the quarter and make progress in those. And so some of the specific goals from last quarter for me that I was focusing on is just recruiting more, growing the squad to 25 people. Right now we have about 15. So that was one of my goals from last quarter, get a few new guys in. And this is like a yearly goal. It's a goal for the year. I want to have 25 solid reps by the end of the year. But it was a goal that I focused on last quarter. Another one that I focused on was reading. And obviously, I was doing 75 hard, where one of the metrics you have to hit is read 10 pages every day. So this one was an easy one to focus on, just reading the books, but actually tracking which books I've read and reflecting on them, being more intentional about it, not just reading to read. And then third goal I was focusing on last quarter was just paying down some IRS debt. If you have heard my story about going through an audit with the IRS, got pretty nasty. I'm still paying off some debt with the IRS, and that's another challenge. Could go on and on, but yeah, was able to pay off a little bit of that. Still working on that. But yeah, pick goals you are focusing on, and then that's part of your review for the quarter is how far did you get on those goals? Did you focus on them? Did you forget about them? Okay, and question number 3, or I guess 4 now, is what worked, what didn't work, and then why, just expounding on that. What will you continue? What will you change? Okay, so sort of 3, 4 questions in one there. So that's, if you want to keep it simple, you could really just end it right there. Okay, I'll just repeat them one more time. After action review, doing 3 to 5 of your top wins from the quarter, going through the challenges. And then question 3 is reviewing the goals, calculating how far you got on those goals. What worked, what didn't work, why, what will you continue, and then what will you change. So if you want to keep it simple, keep it at that. Okay, and again, I would suggest having your reps go through this, doing a little one-on-one, having your team answer these questions. Okay, but just on top of this, I would definitely recommend go through the metrics for yourself. If you kept track, how many appointments did you sit in? How many did you close? What was your sit to close ratio? Then what was your close to install ratio? How many did you actually get installed? Because like I mentioned at the beginning, we looked at our numbers for the team, and some did maybe a little better than we thought. But there were several that it seemed like they're active, seemed like they're working, that just fell short. And even myself, I fell short on what I thought in my head I hit. I didn't do as many installs as I was hoping. I didn't get as many sales as I was hoping. So it's a great thing to be reviewing this, and hopefully you're doing it every week, right? Because it should not be a surprise. If it's a surprise at the end of the quarter, then that's a red flag, and that's a lesson I learned. Is that on top of just my personal numbers, I need to be keeping track of the numbers for my team. Because the fact that it was a surprise to me what some of our guys were at, that just shows that I need to stay on top of them and help hold them accountable, help them know their numbers so they don't get to the end of the quarter and like, oh shoot, I only had a few installs, or I had way less sales than I thought I was going to get. Okay, so that's the most important thing to go over is just your numbers, and then go through those questions that we mentioned earlier in the show today. Okay, but if you want the full worksheet, again, we will post that in the show notes. Okay, there's other questions like your toughest challenge, mindset check, habits you want to build. So we got a worksheet that will go over a lot more questions like that if you want to check it out. But just go make sure you are doing some type of review. Those are the top reps. These are the top reps. These are the people that are achieving their goals. Is they're reviewing them, they're taking lessons from them, they're not making the same mistake twice, and they're staying on top of their numbers and their team's numbers. And if you do that, I promise you're going to have way more success this year, way more success this next quarter, and time isn't going to fly by, and you just get to the end of the year and like, oh shoot, I don't even know where this year went. Okay, you got to be intentional with your habits, with your routines, and with your numbers. So I hope that helps. Go grab your tickets to SolarCon. Go grab your worksheet down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything else you do with your team or you do in your quarterly review that is really effective. We'd love to hear it. And we will see you guys on the next episode.